Do you think?
I think we go for it.
I think we should go. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the TOMS July All Staff. As always, we have an action-packed agenda, so let's get right to it. So first of all, I'm not a big fan of communal thank yous, but I think one is in order for this one because of all of you and all of the hard work, all of the talent. You really brought the TOMS new mission, vision, and position to life. As I'm looking at the brand right now, we're looking amazing, not only for our current consumers, but we also started the process of introducing TOMS to a whole new generation of consumers. Like I said, our brand looks just amazing out there right now, from our social media, on not only on Facebook anymore, but on Instagram, on TikTok, on all these new channels. Our storytelling is amazing. Our photography is great. The product looks amazing. So, and this is where, especially new consumers are interacting with our brand, right? So social media, amazing. If you haven't been to our website in a while, I recommend all of you to go look. The work that's been done from not only IT, but the creative teams, so everybody who's been involved in updating and creating a world-class website, thank you. And then product, we have been at it for the last 18 months to update, upgrade, overhaul in certain cases, our product offering. We are now landing all of that hard work, not only on toms.com, but across our wholesale community. And it looks amazing. And this is just the beginning. The Mallow and the Rover are a first step in a lot of new product that's going to hit the market over the next 18 months. So the brand looks amazing. So thank you, guys. We're also just a couple of months away from moving into our new global headquarters, and Craig will talk about this in more detail. But we're about to adopt a hybrid work week in a hybrid work environment. This is exciting. I could not be more excited for this change. Working from home has been better than I expected. It was hard for me. Some of the people who work closely with me knows how I was doing well on Zoom. I've learned how to adapt, and I think for me, this has gone much better than expected. But at the end of the day, there is no substitution for human interaction. And I've been beyond impressed how well we've been able to work together as one team over the last year and a half. The reality of most of us have not seen each other for 18 months, and a lot of us have never even met. You're just a face on a screen, and like I said, there's no substitution for human interaction. And this change is I believe it's going to be the right one. We're going to, it's going to be a little bit of trial and error because this has never been done before, especially not at TOMS. But I feel really confident that this is going to be a really nice restart for all of us. I also keep hearing, there's been a couple of recent surveys around work-life balance, and I can tell you, I've struggled working from home to create a work balance. It's, normally you go through a kind of a transformational tunnel when you sit in your car or in your bike or wherever, from your workplace to your home, and there's kind of a transition that happens. That doesn't happen. So kind of, for me, weeks have bled into weekends, nights and days. It all kind of is a big blur. And, we want to make sure that, and we've heard this from several of you, like the burnout is a real factor. And I can tell you that is not something that we want anybody to go through, right? We talked about this before. We got to work smarter with more focus, can work harder. We also got to remind ourselves and everybody that we're not in a sprint here, we're in a marathon. And it sounds like a cliche, but that is really the truth here. We encourage, I took a week vacation a couple of weeks ago, and I recommend you guys to take a look at your paycheck, check out how much PTO you have, and make sure you take your vacations. It's a marathon. We're not going to win this by running a 100-yard dash. We're going to win it by cruising along and for 26 something miles, right? That's how we're going to win this. Take advantage of half Fridays, take vacation, make sure we all, we're not leaving anybody high and dry, but vacation is there for a reason. And I encourage everybody to do it. And I know this is easier said than done, but I think, we believe this is really important. We want you all to be, healthy, both physically and mentally. We don't want anybody to burn out. So, okay, enough on that. So also there's another question that we're going to cover questions at the end, and like we always do, feel free to type in questions in the chat, but also I think we'll have enough time at the end of this for you guys to ask questions live if you feel like it. But some of the questions that we got before this meeting, it was one around burnouts and what are we doing? And my recommendation is work with your manager, make sure you're focused on the right things, and make sure you're take control of your own work-life balance. Nobody else is going to do that for you. We encourage it. You're in charge of it. The other questions was around IPOs, and we see a lot of movement in the marketplace. Brands being bought and sold, and we see Allbirds is one of many who is actually looking at taking their company public. And one of the questions was around is TOMS going to go public? And I can say at this moment in time, there's been zero discussions about taking TOMS public. We're nowhere near ready to go through an IPO process. If I sit here 5-7 years from now, maybe we'll have that conversation. But between now and then, there's a lot of things that needs to happen. So at this point, there's no plans of taking this company public. There are no plans at this point to change the ownership structure. We as we spend a lot of time, and especially myself, spend maybe too much time with our board. And I can tell you, they believe in our plan. They believe in the management team, they believe in the organization, and they believe in our strategy. And all of them are committed for the long term. And that gives us some breathing room. There's a sense of urgency to get to where we need to get to in terms of our goals. But I can tell you, from the conversations that I have, they are really complimentary about the progress we're making, even in the face of adversity. And we'll talk about that in a second, but there's a commitment here. But to answer the question that came in early on, at this point, there's no plans of going through an IPO process. Okay, let's set this up. Why don't we open up with going through the agenda quickly here? And Betsy, I don't know if you can pull that up. So, like I said, as always, we have a lot to cover here. Like what I'm going to do here early on is just give you a quick highlight of a state of the union, where we're at, and what are some of the successes we've seen over the last couple of months, and what are the headwinds we're facing. We have Arthur and Nate. It's going to take us through a financial update. We've gone through the first half, and we have the results of that, and we also want to share kind of the goals for the second half and the full year. We have Ian, Kelsey, and Angie is going to take us through kind of the latest and greatest on marketing. We had Amy and Sammy is going to do a DEIA update and also an update around our impact. And then we're going to close this out with Craig giving us the latest and greatest on how we're doing with our office move. And then we're going to do a little share out on our first or second, I don't believe, E-Day. With Sammy, and then like I said, any time over, and if we feel brave enough to ask your questions live, we're going to go through that process. So why don't we go to the next slide here? Just a quick state of the union on my end. And like I said, Nate and Arthur will talk about our performance in the first half. But if you remember, and paid attention on previous staff meetings, we've gone through quite a bit of challenges in the first half. Having said that, we still delivered the H1 results that we said we were going to deliver. We hit, and in some cases exceeded our budget. That's the first 6 months. We have a lot of work left in the second half, but thank you to all of you who helped make this possible. This was a true team effort to pull this one through, and that feels great. Also, order books. As you know, we're a company that takes orders in advance. So we take them up to 6 months in advance. So we have some visibility to what the next 6 months would look like globally, especially in our wholesale channels. And we continue to see positive momentum and double-digit growth in our order book throughout the rest of this year. So again, there's a lot of things that can happen, but those are really positive indications that our brand is on the right track, our product looks great, and our sales is out there doing a phenomenal job fighting the good fight for our brand. So strong H1 results, great order book through the rest of the year. And we're seeing, and we have been seeing consistently with our key accounts and some of our independents, but we get quite a bit of detailed information from our key accounts around sell-through. And sell-through this spring and summer has been really strong. Can always be better, but these are good signs when you sell product. In some cases, in some weeks, we've been in the double-digit sell-through, which is great, right? So we're doing really good there. And if you haven't been paying attention, we have had some of the biggest product launches in TOMS history over the last couple of months. The Mallow was first, and now we're launching the Rover, and it's been done. And Ian and team will share some of the successes we've had there, but really exciting stuff. And then we continue to, what we thought was going to be a mixed bag of feedback from media and just the peanut gallery around our evolved giving model. But we continue to get praise and recognition for our evolved giving model, from 1-for-1 to a third of profits. And Amy is going to share a little more about that. So that's really great news. On the headwind side, like I've said, we have seen since late last year through the first half, we continue to see a tremendous amount of what I call supply chain disruptions, from delays at port of entry to port of destination. We see delays in general because of demand. We also seeing cost. As you know, we're shipping our product in containers on vessels across the world, and the cost of buying a container today versus only 6 months ago is night and day. So we're getting hit pretty hard by what I call it price gouging, but that's really what's going on right now, and that has an effect on our overall business and our profitability for the year. So Brian Zellner, Christoph, and the team are working really hard to make sure that we're paying only our as much as we have to. But this is a real issue, not only for TOMS and not only for the footwear industry, but pretty much for everybody who's shipping goods across the ocean. But that's a problem. We're also having a lot of progress in certain parts of Europe and in the US regarding vaccinations. But in Asia right now, the vaccination rates are really low. And as you know, we do a lot of business with China, but we also do a lot of business with Vietnam. And Vietnam has shut down the southern part of Vietnam for now. And we have a lot of factories, and that is affecting our delivery dates for the rest of this year. When they do a shutdown for a couple of weeks or maybe even more, not only does it have an impact on them shutting down and restarting, that causes delay, but also you're going to have a bottleneck in shipping as a result when they do open up again. So the AO team, Christoph and his team are working night and day to try to offset as much as possible, finding new factories to help minimize the delays. And they if you see any of these guys in operations or in product development or AO, please give them a thank you, because they're doing everything they can to mitigate this one. But it is a real issue, and we lost a lot of containers earlier in the year. Now we're dealing with a different situation. So that's definitely a headwind. And also, if you guys are part of the ecom team or anybody who's following them on a weekly basis, we continue to face challenges on ecom traffic, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One being consumers are behaving differently now than they did last year. We also have seen Apple introducing security or privacy clauses that we've never seen before, and that is actually affecting TOM's ability to drive traffic on conversion on Facebook. I think privacy at the end of the day is a good thing. However, right now in the short term, it is affecting our traffic, and it's also affecting, as a result, our business. And then consumer behavior. Like I said, it's easy to get caught in the US. We're making slow progress at this point, but so our lives here are back to close to normal. But we're a global business, and we're seeing some some vaccination rates around the world that are sub 10%. We have India at 6%. We have Thailand at 4 or 5%. So a lot of the countries that we're doing business with, even in Europe, we're seeing vaccination rates that are much lower than here. So this is still an issue that is affecting our business. And we believe this will continue well into next year. So there's really strong fundamentals on the brand. They're really positive progress, but we're also facing some headwinds. But I'm sitting here feeling optimistic that we're going to pull this off and deliver this year what we said we're going to do when we created this budget last year. But again, there are external market factors that are somewhat out of our control that we continue to deal with. But like I said, bring it on. This team is one of the most talented team that I've ever seen. We can do this. So again, I started with a thank you, and I'm going to end also with a thank you, because I know this was not in the brochure that was handed to me when I started, and I'm sure it was not in any of your brochures when you guys started either. But we're doing the best we can to mitigate some of these headwinds, and I can tell you we're going to get through this. And like I said, the fundamentals of this brand is stronger than most other brands that I've worked for in my 25 years. So great stuff. Okay. Like I always say, now I'm rambling, and I'm going to stop, and I'm going to hand it over to Arthur and Nate to take us through some of the finance stuff. So thank you, guys.
Great. So happy to see everyone virtually. Wanted to do this mid-year check-in now that we just finished closing June. Just to remind everybody what our full year goal is. Our goal for the year is to deliver a $10.2 million adjusted EBITDA. EBITDA is our earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization. This is a good kind of operational metric to show how the company is performing. So as a quick reminder, 10.2 gets everybody 100% bonus payout. There is a bit of a sliding scale. So if we overachieve, we are capped at 200% of a bonus payout if we hit $20 million in EBITDA. And on the bottom side, we have to hit at least $9 million to get that 75% bonus. So that's the finish line that we're all rooting for. So next slide. And so here we have a high level income statement, just to kind of walk through to show, for people that aren't used to looking at financial statements all the time. What we have here is just our sales by channel going down. Underneath the sales, you have your product costs, freight and duties, cost of goods sold. So essentially all of the costs associated with generating those sales. You take your sales, less your COGS, you have your gross margin. Under gross margin, you have your overall selling, general, administrative expenses, overhead expenses, people costs. These are all the expenses of doing business. You take your gross margin, you less your SG&A, and then you end up with your EBITDA. So on the bottom right, you'll see the full year is the 10.2 that we had talked about earlier. So if you look at the first half, how did we do? Sales came in really strong, $2.8 million above what we had planned, or 2.5% higher than budget. This was kind of evenly split between wholesale and e-com. The thing to highlight, as Magnus alluded to earlier, is that we are seeing the freight rates really ramp up. And so we beat sales by 2.5%, but freight and duties was already 17% higher in the first half. So that's really going to come into play in the second half, as we'll see later on. On the expense side, we did a really good job managing our costs. Marketing spend was $3 million under budget. Some of that's going to get shifted to the second half of the year, just kind of timing. And then with our general administrative overhead, we did a really good job, watching our costs. No one really went over, and we came in $2 million under. Part of that $2 million also was, the supply chain disruptions that we had talked about earlier. There was a capsized ship, and we were able to recover some insurance proceeds. So that helped offset some of our overhead costs. But all that to say, first half, came in really strong. We beat budget by $4 million. And then so looking forward, going into the second half, we still see continued strong sales trends. We're projecting to beat sales versus budget by $6 million. This time it's all coming from wholesale. Freight and duties, this is where, you know, it really starts ramping up. We're beating sales by $6 million or about 6%. That, you know, on the freight and duty side is 60% higher than what we had initially budgeted. So that's a $3 million EBITDA hit right there. If you look at our expenses, what I had alluded to earlier, some of the marketing timing that we didn't spend in the first half, we were trying to repopulate in the second half. And the way we really look at marketing is every dollar spent here really is an investment toward our future. And so, you know, these are our dollars well spent. All that to say, second half of the year, we are projecting to come under budget by $4 million. You net it out with the first half. We are very much on track to deliver the full $10.2 million that we had initially budgeted. So going on to the next slide, this is just that full year view. And, you know, a quick summary, Magnus already hit on a lot of these points, but on positive notes, you know, there is really strong demand for our goods across our major channels. We are seeing this in wholesale, we are seeing this in pre-books, and this goes into the second half of the year. Brand investment is generating tons of interest to the company. As a quick reminder to everyone, we are spending $10 million increase year over year in upper funnel brand spend. This is just to generate more brand equity. This is really that investment into the future that hopefully will pay dividends, you know, next year and the year after that. Also, we are now highly coordinated more than ever between brand marketing, getting the new product, and getting that distribution of that product out to consumers' hands. On the challenges side, you know, we can't talk more enough about the global supply chain disruptions. You name it, we're experiencing it. We had factory fires in the first half of the year, capsized ships, and now we have the quarantine delays expected in the second half of the year. Freight costs are quadrupling within the year, going from about $2,500 per container to over $13,000 a container. And that iOS privacy policy update to Facebook has been a disruption to our e-com business. Apple rolled out new privacy policy in June. 80% that same month of iOS users opted out of being tracked. So before all of that traffic that we can just purchase from Facebook, we're now looking to divert that spend to potentially new areas that are not as tested yet. So we're going to have to see how those results come in. Overall takeaway is that, you know, it is really going to come down to the wire when measuring against our budget EBITDA goals. We're coming into the first half, plenty of wind behind our backs, doing really well, and it is going to require a coordinated effort among all fronts in order for us to finish the year strong and deliver on our goals. So with that, Nate's going to talk a little bit more about our wholesale business.
Hey everyone, it's so great to see all of your faces. I'm Nate, for those that I haven't met yet. I lead our sales operations team in wholesale. And I just wanted to give a little bit more color to what we're seeing in our wholesale business. So in the first half of the year, we beat our budget by $1.3 million for 2021. And what you're seeing in my very pretty chart here are these pink bars are what we did in sales, and the blue bars were our budget. So in Q1, everyone's been talking about these global supply chain issues that we've been experiencing, and we definitely got hit really heavy, really hard by them in wholesale as well. So that's what you see in February and March in particular, our sales fell well short of what we were planning to do, even though the fact that the world was opening back up and our bookings were really, really strong. But just because of so much product came late into the market, we missed our budget significantly. The good news is that in the second quarter, in Q2, we were able to overachieve against our budget. And so when it came to the end of the first 6 months of the year, we ended up beating our budget by $1.2 million. So that's all good news. And then I'll give you guys a preview of what is happening in the second half of the year on the next slide. So for the second half of the year, as Magnus kind of said, in our wholesale business, you know, it's different to e-com. E-com sales are day by day, and you never know how much a customer is going to order. But in wholesale, we'll go out 6 months ahead of time and we'll pre-sell, we'll sell to our customers 6 months out, and then make those shoes 6 months out, and then bring them in and then ship them to them. So we get a pretty good gauge 6 months out about whether or not the business is doing well. So happy to say in H2, our bookings are up 79% against 2020. And also our bookings are even up against 2019. So well, you might say 2020, I don't think anybody was selling anything in 2020. 2019 we were, and we're up against 2019. So just a few highlights to call out what's happening in wholesale. Part of our wholesale business is Amazon. We sell to Amazon.com. So, 50% of actually our wholesale customers is online. So where you might think wholesale is just brick and mortar stores, Nordstrom, Macy's, Kohl's, it is that, but it's also a big portion of it is online. And glance views on Amazon.com are up 10x. They're up 10 times from last year. So on any given week, we'll have about 150,000 views on Amazon. That's really driving sales. Mark, our rep for Amazon, and Jenny are doing just amazing work, really turning that business around, making sure that we're showing up really, really well, that it just looks beautiful when you look up TOMS on Amazon.com, that we have the right assortment in there, and we're really seeing that pay dividends. We're back in Nordstrom doors. So for those of you who have been in the business a while, Nordstrom was a really big customer for us, huge. And over time, as the business declined, so did our sales declined. And we eventually were in Nordstrom.com only, and we weren't in any doors. And it's tough, like it's very, very tough to get back into doors with a customer if they've kicked you out. But we did it. We're back in Nordstrom doors, and we just a few of their flagship stores, and we have launched the Mallow, the new Mallow with Nordstrom, which is doing well. It's doing we're seeing decent results so far on the Mallow. So that's really exciting news, and we're seeing good results there. The last thing that we're seeing in our wholesale business is we have launched dropship. Dropship is a really, really important trend that we're seeing in our wholesale business. This is all part of just improving that customer experience, shipping directly to the customer, from us to the customer. And so we have launched dropship with Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, and DSW, and there's more to come. So this is an exciting, growing part of our business that is just going to be delivering incremental revenue for wholesale. So that's just a quick update to give you guys a little peek behind the curtain of what we're seeing in the wholesale business. Some good tailwinds, as Arthur said, and yeah, I'll pass it along to the next person.
I am the next person. Hey everyone, good to see you all. Hope everyone's doing well. Just before I dive into marketing, I just want to add some additional flavor to what Nate was saying about Nordstrom, because it's so exciting given how big they were and then they weren't, and how they're starting to come back again, which is a great indication of growing wholesale strength. But the other thing about Nordstrom is that they saw what we were doing and they asked to come in earlier, bigger, faster. They loved all that they could see from the creative, from the new impact model, and particularly with the new product. And they're pretty seasoned footwear operators. So for them to say we want in, and we want in early, and we want in now, is really for all of us to reflect, is a great indication that, as Magnus said, what we're doing is right, and it is a marathon, but it's starting to turn that corner. So despite all of the choppy waters of all the other factors that are out of our control, those little bright spots are worth remembering. Okay, so dive into marketing. We're going to click through pretty quickly because time is always of the essence in these. And before we go over the page, though, can you go back? Yeah, so I'm just going to quickly go through where we are with the strategy and what we've done so far, particularly because there's a bunch of new folks. So just to catch everybody up to how we got to where we are now, and then just a quick check in on the Mallow and the Rover, and then the road ahead for the rest of this year. And then Angie and Kelsey are going to give you a couple of really exciting highlights of new things that we've got on the plate. So thank you to dive in. Our strategy remains absolutely focused. Next page, please. It's the strategic pillar. It's the inspire the next generation of rebel optimists. And to simplify the task that marketing has, it's two things. We need to attract this new young consumer, and we need to make the alpargata cool again. And we remain laser focused on these two things: find the new customer and present our shoe in the most fashionable, cool way that we can. If we do that, we're winning. So over the page, the journey so far. In spring, summer 22, we launched the new TOMS to engage this new younger consumer. On the next page, just a quick snapshot of the things that were done to get us to where we are now and to set us up for both this year and next. The new creative direction rolled in February. The new website launched, which is amazing. And thanks to all the team that worked on that in March. We presented our new impact model in April to all overwhelming positive reaction. And as Magnus said, that's a huge achievement for us to be able to do that and have it well received. We celebrated all of that with a global PR moment all around the world with massive eyeballs on the brand and interest. And then we spent the summer or early summer celebrating our core alpargata. So that's the foundation building that's behind us now. It's set us up. If we go over the next page, this is some of the headlines. You've all seen these before, but it's just a reminder that we were well received by the press, both the industry trade press like Footwear News, business press like Forbes, and then in the fashion press as well. What to wear now, TOMS. Just I love that validation there. So over the page. So now we're heading into fall holiday 21, and it's all about launching new and not just launching new and one and done with the Mallow and the Rover. It's again foundation building so that we get into next year with a really solid set of new products for this new consumer. First up on the next page was the beautiful Mallow, launched on June 17th. Yep, next. Beautiful digital ads, beautiful photography, beautiful new creative direction, and you know, loud and proud with the new 1/3 of profits for Grassroots Good. So that was a digital ad blitz. For those that weren't aware, so exciting. We were out in 100+ locations with these beautiful, massive billboards all the way through downtown LA and across all different parts of New York as well. It's amazing to see this because it's our brand in the real world, big and bold with beautiful photography. And we got a lot of people seeing these and sending them to us, which is always a great indication, you know, just friends that are walking the street and saying, hey, wow, this is awesome. So that was cool. The other really cool thing we did was we're starting to test QR codes. So we put a QR code into that brought the person back into the digital landscape, which is a first, you know, going from physical to digital so easily now with QR. So we'll continue putting the foot on the gas with that. And then on the next page, another first for us was the test of doing physical mailers into the homes. So a couple of 100,000 homes received the Mallow. There's future ones coming. There's a Rover one dropping in a minute. And this is all a test for us to see getting physically into the house, reintroducing the brand. It's a bit of a Trojan horse because it goes into one person and hopefully everybody in the household sees it before it hits the recycle bin. If this all works and we'll start getting the data back, we have a vision for doing a really big catalog drop the back half of next year, because we have so much great new product and we have so much great new stories to tell. So we'll see how this goes. I think it'll go well, and then we'll plan for bigger later. So that's that. Next page. So just a snapshot. We're rolling into the month one data at the moment. So this is just still for week one, but week one was really where we unleashed a lot of the PR and media. So that first week of launch, Kelsey and team generated 22 press placements that potentially had 3.8 billion eyeballs on it. The next one's amazing. 119 influencer posts, both from paid and organic influencers, but that's a lot of people that share the same values as us, posting about us on their feeds, and that generated 12 million impressions. Our upper funnel ads, which we have never done before, so unleashing that upper funnel to get acquisition and eyeballs, generated 35 million eyeballs. And we were able to track 167,000 new people who haven't been to toms.com before coming into the Mallow landing page, which is phenomenal because it's the beginning of telling us, yes, people saw it, they're interested, they've come for a look. And marketing says they're not all going to buy on the first look. You know, none of us buy anything on the first look. We want to look a few times. We need that repetition. So we're in that phase of marketing now of continuing to just send that message out, get the validation from people seeing it in lots of different places, and over time sales will click in. But sell through in week one at 9% is extremely healthy. Anything that's a 9-10 in week one is considered really good, and we're tracking at 15% sell through to where we are now. So that's exciting. This last one though is the most exciting data point for the Mallow launch. 80% of people who bought a Mallow were brand new to the brand. If that was 80% of people were existing customers, then we're just selling to the same group of people, but that's not the case. 80% of people who bought a mallow, and we're up in the 5,000-6,000 pairs sold now, were brand new. So that's an extremely exciting data point. We're not 100% clear in terms of demographics, but directionally we're seeing a lot more people under 34 and a lot of people under 24 buying the mallow as well, which is super cool. Next page, please. Onto the Rover, next one. That just launched July 15th. Again, beautiful assets, attracting a new male consumer, not just to the Rover, but to TOMS in general. This is a bigger ask to get the guy interested in our brand and our product. Digital ad blitz from the 17th of July, and then over the page, just some quick stats. For that, 14 press placements, which was great, 33 influencer posts, which is phenomenal, 8.5 million impressions from the upper funnel. We spent a lot less than we did on the mallow, just proportionally given the size of the business. But we were able to generate 30,000 people coming to the Rover landing page on toms.com. 4% sell through, a bit slow in week one, but we're picking up pace now, which is exciting. 7% to date, which is cool. And again, look at this: 77% of people who bought a Rover were brand new to TOMS, which is really super exciting. This is one of our strategies: acquire a new young consumer. And both the mallow and the Rover are showing us that we're doing that. Over the page, just for me to wrap up, this is the road ahead for us. We continue to do globally aligned product launches, full funnel from the top of the funnel with PR and influencers all the way down through upper funnel and middle and lower funnel, and then all of the activity on the site. So the funnel's in full effect. We've done it for the mallow drop one. We've done it for the Rover. We've got more mallows coming in August, more Rovers coming in September, and then more new product coming in October. So a really good sequence of just steady drumbeat of brand excitement and beautiful, beautiful product. Again, foundation building for next year. So I'm going to hand over now to Angie, who's going to take you through two other exciting things that are going on, and then to Kelsey to wrap it up. So thanks, everyone.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Ian. Go ahead to the next slide. So in support of the back to school season, we created a 4-part video series called The School of Grassroots Good, pairing our Gen Z TOMS ambassadors with our giving partners to chat about everything from mental health to increasing access to opportunity. The first episode is already live on Instagram on our IGTV channel, featuring TOMS ambassador Amy Lee and our giving partner, the Dinner Party's Sundari Malcolm. Be sure to check it out and look out for future episodes launching over the next couple months. It's all over Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Next slide, please. We're also thrilled to announce we're officially live on TikTok. The handle is @TOMSOfficial. It's right there at the bottom. Make sure to follow us. We're currently sourcing ambassadors there as well to create content wearing the mallow to share on their accounts and ours as well, tagging us to drive awareness that we're live on the platform. Again, check it out, give us a follow. And with that, I will pass it back to Kelsey.
Thanks, Angie. Lots of exciting updates. I mean, being on TikTok is major, so give us a like. We'll continue to grow our audience. So I'm going to give you a quick update on the latest with our new product collaborations. So just to ground us in our strategy here, and it's really about driving brand heat. So these collaborations are meant to build our fashion relevance and highlight our impact. So we're kicking off our energy driving collabs with the launch of TOMS by Wild Fang this October. And for those who don't know, Wild Fang is a women-founded and run apparel company that's all about breaking gender norms. So as part of the TOMS by Wild Fang collection, we're supporting our new giving partner called Project Q, which is an LA-based organization dedicated to supporting LGBTQ+ youth of color through services like free gender affirming haircuts. So you'll see here, Madden Lopez on the right side is the founder, and we'll be creating impact focused content to tell their story while also showcasing the product. So I'm also giving you a sneak peek at the product. So quick thanks to Kelly, who led the design and the entire product and AO team for making this happen on a short timeline. We feel your support and we are so grateful for it. So we are creating a full look with Wild Fang with their coverall, which is their icon you see pictured here. And then we've got our TOMS alpargata and a mallow executed on a new material on this leather nubuck. And then we've created socks as well. So we're really excited to bring this to market later this year. I'm going to kick it over to Sammy now.
Thanks, Kelsey. I definitely want one of those coveralls. So excited for when those come out. I am really excited to be able to talk to everyone about DEIA efforts we've been doing. I'm Sammy, I'm on the giving team, and some fun news is that we have a new leader of the people team, Amy Lentz, who will be, you'll get to meet her right now if you haven't already met her, and she's going to be going over all of these updates with us as well.
Thanks, Sammy. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy, and I am very excited to be part of the DEIA committee. And so Sammy and I thought that we would share what it looks like to be part of the committee, what the commitment looks like, walk through the progress that the committee has made over the last year, and then invite you all to consider joining the committee. So I'm going to read through the committee members. Actually, Sammy, why don't you do that? Would you share the committee member bullet points?
Absolutely. So to be on the committee, you just have to make sure that you get your manager to approve it. We have weekly meetings with all of us, and honestly, it's probably one of my favorite meetings each week, just because it's really informative and we just really get to know one another. If we have any DEIA events or things like that, as we ask you to really support and promote them, as well as participate in them, as long as you are on the correct time zone. We have launched what we're calling DEIA office hours. So every Friday in the morning, we're having 2 DEIA members just be there, very casual for people to drop in and ask questions or have conversations about DEIA efforts. There's always opportunities to host presentations. For example, like right now, you could be speaking at the all staff. We can host conversations, discussions, and then any other sort of team events. It's honestly not like a major amount of work. It depends on the week, but it's anywhere from about 1-ish hour because of the meeting to about 3 hours, just depending on what our efforts are for the month.
And for all of our staff that is not on the committee, our hope is that we would all take a listening stance regarding DEIA issues and initiatives, take a learning stance, understand our personal agency as each staff member, seek to educate ourselves, reflect, review, and change based on the new knowledge that we're learning, and org-wide as a company, and also individually that we be transparent and be accountable to what we're learning. Next slide. Sammy, would you walk us through the road so far of the DEIA committee?
Yeah, so the past 18 plus months have been wild for everyone. And we just thought it would be really great to reflect on everything that we've been doing for the past year and a half. So really, when we started our efforts, it was after the murder of George Floyd. We came together as a company to be able to hold this space of grief and just be with one another right after. And then it really launched us into having our days of learning. So that first one was in June 2020. We gave you resources to listen, watch, read, or act. And everyone got that day to be able to do that. The committee was formally formed in July of 2020. And July had a lot of things happening for us then. We did our pull-up challenge on social. Leadership got their own training with one of our third-party vendors. And then we also started to really incorporate our DEIA mission into the goals of the company and began our roadmap. In September, we got our first advisor, our DEIA advisor, who is Dr. Nate Sessoms, who many of you have either met from our Day of Learning introduction, or maybe you went to some of his workshops. And then we also, this past year in 2020, we formed the TOMS Impact Advisory Council. So these are external members who are either with our giving partners or in the fields of one of our 3 impact areas to really showcase how we are externally engaging consumers as well as our giving partners. And then we started our office hours this past June. Some really exciting news is that typically we would have our day of learning in August, but this month, next month, it's going to be in the form of training. So you all will receive more information in your inboxes about how to sign up for that training. So everyone will be actually able to go through an anti-racism workshop with Dr. Nate Sessoms. Next slide.
All right, so to break down DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and anti-racism. So this committee looks at business areas of focus through that lens, and we make recommendations, analysis, and some of the areas of focus that we are currently working on are recruiting, onboarding, talent development, as Ian and Kelsey and Angie shared, marketing and brand representation, general and granular business practices, looking at culture, leadership, giving an impact. A lot to cover. Thank you, Sammy, for sharing the road so far. I think a tremendous amount of progress has been made. But Sammy, would you talk about what it looks like to be on the team, what different roles there are?
Yeah, so each of us, we don't have typically like assigned roles, but we all really play to our strengths and areas that we want to grow. So there's opportunities for you to be presenting or host some of our employee engagements. We have different events to be able to actually project manage and work collaboratively with different departments or work with the Culture and Experience Committee to be able to plan those events. We know that we are not experts in this field, so we do a ton of research to be able to get the communication out to all of our all staff. For any of our cultural moments, our celebration heritage months, we've been creating those newsletters. So you would be taking part in that. You can help create them, whether it's the content or the actual like visual representation. And then also just being able to have conversations with colleagues, whether that is formally in those office hours, or really just being able to relay conversations that you have one-on-one with your colleagues. Next slide. Ooh.
There we go. So we want you to join our team. Email deia@toms.com if you're interested in joining, if you have any questions, if you want to share any kind of really anything. It's an open invitation to connect with any of us individually, but specifically our call to action is if you have any interest to learn more, reach out to any of us here, Andre, Sammy, Brenna, Jonathan, myself, Caroline, or Amy Smith. And on that note, to you, Amy.
Morning, everyone. I am going to be sharing a little bit of information with y'all about our impact. So we can just go to the next slide. As everyone remembers, hopefully, we were recertified for our B Corp status in 2020. And happily, we increased our score by 25%, really significant. Most of that was in the environmental category, but it was overall a higher score collectively. So really excited about that. And not in 2020 because of the pandemic, but in 2019, we were also awarded Best for the World status, which was at that time, the top 10% of B Corp organizations in a particular category. So in 2021, I am really happy to announce that we've actually also received the Best for the World status in the community category, and they've changed the requirement from the top 10% to the top 5%. So out of 4,000 B Corp organizations worldwide, we are in the top 5% in the community category. So it's something we all should be incredibly proud of. You all help make this happen. It's everything from, the giving team and what we're doing on the impact side, but also the supply chain team and the product team and legal across the organization. Everyone is touching this in some way, shape, or form and making it come to life. So really, really should feel excited and proud about this, and everyone had a role to play in making it happen. So wanted to share that with you. I think we're going to be putting it out on social a little bit just to share it with the world. But be proud of that. And of course, if you have any questions about our B Corp status, please reach out to anybody on the Giving and Impact team, and we can certainly help you understand that better. It is a little complicated. the scoring and recertification process is quite extensive. And Jessica Murray and Lauren head up that process with input from lots of other people. So really exciting, a really proud moment for TOMS, and just an indicator that, like I said, so much of this transition that I think Ian and I were sort of like, oh, are people going to be okay with moving away from 1-for-1? It's just a reinforcement that we're headed in the right direction and we're doing things that are really, really compelling. So on the next slide, I have more good news to share about 2021's purpose or Power Purpose Index. I always want to switch those around. And so that is an independent study that is done by RepTrack and Strawberry Frog. So these are two kind of consulting and evaluation companies that have come together to really look at what is, who are the most purposeful brands out there. They also did not do the report in 2020. And so they've come back in 2021. There are 6,500 consumer respondents that are selected to participate in this rating, and over 20,000 ratings that each company is evaluated on. So it's a very independent, very well organized, very thoughtful process that they use in order to rank these. And the really exciting news is TOMS was ranked number 2 in 2021. And so if you want to go to the next slide, a few of the elements here about the Purpose Power Index is really what are the elements that they're looking for? Who are these companies and what do they stand for? And what are the things that they're looking for? So their work beyond profits, right? So we hear that a lot. That one makes sense. But also that the work that you're doing as a company is improving lives. You're bettering society, and overall you're bettering the world. And those are things obviously we all feel really committed to and are really excited about and really proud of as it relates to TOMS. And if you go to the next slide, in 2021, what is really interesting relative to 2019 is that over or about half of the brands that were in the top 20 are new, because they were addressing very specific societal issues as it related to COVID-19. And you can see, everyone from Zoom to the Clorox company are all much more top of mind brands for all of us based on what has happened in the world. What's even more exciting is that TOMS maintained its position from 2019 to 2021, even with the world being completely different, that we remained very relevant in the eye of the consumer through all of the transition that was happening in the world. And so that's something I also want us to be incredibly proud of. I think it's a really wonderful reflection of the hard work that we collectively do together, and a really nice way to highlight what great things are happening at TOMS, and that it's being really well received by the consumer. This is just a random gathering of 6,500 plus consumers, and they are saying to the world and back to us that we recognize you as one of the most purposeful brands in the world. So really exciting. Wanted to share that with you. There is a full report. I will share that with Betsy, and we'll make sure that it gets posted to the share drive. I'm sure I'm one of the few geeks that want to read it cover to cover and understand every nuance of it. But if you're with me, we would love to have you check that out, and you can definitely take some time to look at that. I also just want to really quickly highlight that this book, it's called Activate Brand Purpose. We are highlighted in here, and it's related to this Power Purpose Index. So I know for a long time it was exciting for TOMS to be highlighted in some publications, and so this is really great. And we also have a highlight in the Good is the New Cool book that came out in chapter 3. And so if you're up for some more power purpose reading, I recommend both of these books to you, and you'll get to see TOMS highlighted and the great work that we're doing collectively. So excited to share that with you all. I believe it is my turn to hand off to Craig to talk about the new office.
Hi, everyone. I know we're running short of time here, but I'll try to do this fast. So for those of you who are new to the company, I'm Craig Goslin. I'm the Chief Legal Officer. I also head up the HR team, people team with Amy Lentz, who you met a little bit earlier. So let's go to the first slide here, Betsy. So we've got 2 slides to share with you on what we're calling the decommissioning of Jandy Place. What does that mean? Our lease is up, as I've said before, at the end of September. We need to vacate Jandy and hand the premises back to the landlord, essentially in the same way we got it 11 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. So that work is going to start really in earnest in August. We've all been working toward that to date. We've had everybody coming in, cleaning up their areas. Everybody's done a fantastic job. So what happens during August is we're going to try to, again, we're going to be taking furniture out of there that's going to be sold off, really kind of emptying the place. And so you'll see here where shipping and receiving will be located, an entry in the month of August. And if you need to come in, we've got that area that's kind of highlighted in this area here is kind of the product development product area. There'll be places to work there. So you won't be going to your old office space anymore. You'll be coming into this area if you need to come in during the month of August. Again, remember during the month of August, for all you lucky raffle winners, please pick up what you won yesterday by August 6th. That's next Friday, because that's part of this whole process. And if you do come in for the grab and go, make sure you're grabbing the right stuff and not things that shouldn't be grabbed. So again, we had some miscommunication there where a few folks were taking things out of drawers. I think there was some confusion about what was available. So please don't do that. Respect the product areas. Don't grab anything that is obviously not part of that process. Why don't you go to the next slide, Betsy? And then September. So September is really going to be, hey, there's going to be construction going on through most of the place. We're going to be really putting this back into a shell that we give back to the landlord. Couple of updates there. We thought we were going to be taking the bleachers and one of the 2 slides, but the landlord wants those things. And because they are bolted to the foundation, they are considered to be fixtures, so they're entitled to keep them. So those won't be coming with us to the new office, unfortunately, but we'll see how things shake out in the new office and see what we want to do going forward there. So things like that will stay, and we'll be putting back the space in the way it came to us 10 years ago. So you'll see here that during the month of September, it's going to be even tighter in terms of coming into the office. It's basically Blake's area that you might be able to come in for to do things. Again, you can see the entry area with security and the shipping area where Jonathan will still ship and receive. And then again, you'll have some area to come in, but it's going to be very limited while we get this done. So that's the decommissioning piece. Let's quickly go to the new office. There's a lot here. Sorry about that, but I thought it was good to show you the 2 floors. So for those of you who have not been to Uplander, which is our new office, it's a 2-story building. This is the first floor, and you can see in the lower left corner, that's where you'll enter the building. And then right next to that in the upper portions, will be Jonathan's area, the shipping and receiving area, and then the photo studio in the very top left-hand corner. So that's where you'll see Jorge and his team up there. So you'll have that's kind of as you come into the building. And then if you go down, scroll down, Betsy, to the very bottom and to the right, not that far over, right there. That's that area right there that Betsy's circling is the eyewear team will be in that area along with the materials team, the materials library. Nyoko will be there. That's where they'll be hanging out. Right across from that is our 2 conference rooms. So the one on the left conference room will be what we call the Kickstart conference room. It's the onboarding conference room for new hires. That will be used for that purpose exclusively once every 2 weeks. Otherwise, it will be available for anybody to use. And then right next to that is a smaller conference room that really will fit about 4 or 5 people. Right next to that is our kitchenette area. We'll have coffee. It won't be as extensive as we've had in the past, but it will be very functional. Then as you scroll to the right, Betsy, that whole wide open space right there, that is really going to be product. So to the very right of the screen is going to be a showroom area. Next to that will be product development tables and so forth. This is going to be a very large, wide open space that's really designed to showcase the brand. And then you can see just to that left, there's that little funky drawing. Go up a little bit, Betsy, and to the left, and then go left a little bit more. That's a lift. So what is that for? It's not an elevator, but it will be a lift that is designed to get product up and down from the second floor, and I'll show you that in a second. So that's a quick overview of the first floor. Why don't we quickly scroll to the second floor? Second floor, in the very top right-hand corner there, at the very top, let's see, scroll down a little bit more. There, right there. That area right there is going to be kind of where we have most of our dedicated workspaces. So if you want to come in for the day, as we've talked about, and you need a place to hang out, you're tired of working at your apartment or your home, there's going to be office locations set up in that area. Right next to that will be collaborative workspaces, right there where Betsy's circling. That's going to be all collaborative work areas. And there's a wall there that will wall that off with the more dedicated work areas. Right next to that collaborative workspace is the storage area. That's our main storage area. Sorry, right. One more over, Betsy. Right. Well, yeah, it's close enough. You can see storage there. That's our main footwear storage area. And that's going to be an extensive area that's footwear dedicated, and the lift will service that area. Let's see. As you scroll down from that, you can see the IT help desk is, scroll over a little bit, Betsy. Sorry, right down and down one. IT help desk, you can see that. And outside the help desk are copiers and office materials, and that's where all of that will be located. And then right below that is another large collaborative workspace that's really designed for you to come in with your teams and work. There'll be couches there, there'll be tables there, chairs there, all designed to help you work collaboratively with your team. And then right below that is the main conference room. That's we call that the boardroom, but it will be more functional than a boardroom. When we have board meetings, which will be quarterly, that's where we'll be. But it's also going to be utilized for product, to show product if we need it. It will be a functional conference room that we can convert from board use. And then to the left, you'll see 2 office areas. Those are really the only offices that we're going to have that are kind of dedicated offices that are, but it will be open for executive use. Magnus will have one office there. The other one will be more of an office if you need an enclosed office for the day. And then right next to that is our mother's room. And so again, for mothers who have newborns and are lactating, there's a dedicated room for them. And then finally, at the very top, there's one more collaborative workspace that, again, is really off the beaten path. That's it. That's designed for people to work collaboratively away from maybe all the other noise. So that's a quick overview. There's a lot to unpack there. A lot has gone into this. This has been a very big process with a lot of minute details. So my thanks to Danette Alvarez, our facilities manager, who's really leading this. Tim Frichtel, amazing job, Tim, and the IT team who have jumped in and really done a huge work here. So that's a quick and dirty. With that, I'll turn it over to Sammy.
Thanks, Craig. Let's end on some high notes. I'm super pumped to be able to have 2 people to be able to share about their eDay experience. And hopefully this will lead you into a wonderful weekend. Ivan Jimenez will go first, and then afterward it will be Carissa.
Awesome.
Go ahead,
Hey,
Ivan.
hi, everyone. Thanks, Sammy, and thanks, everyone. My name is Ivan Jimenez. I'm the TOMS Marketing Director, and I'm going to talk about my experience with the E-Days. And I think it's important to share what happened during my first Giving E-Day, because I feel that not every day you can be part of something like greater than yourself. And I say greater because I never really had the chance to be involved in a company that shares money, resources, and time towards helping others in such an organized and honest way. And I think that honest is a very important word. And for those who haven't been part in this Giving Day, right? Like basically we hear and discuss partners' points of view and efforts on the blocks that TOMS is supporting: mental health, increasing the access to opportunities, and ending imbalance, right? So I feel that it was a really honest chat, and every partner at the end, they just really like thank us, all of us, for our day-to-day efforts and contributions. And I think that felt very real. It was heavy. It was heavy, and in a good way, right? And I think that something very important that I want to share here is that and this is just an honest statement, I feel very lucky working at a company that doesn't spend its resources sending its CEO to space for 5 minutes, right? We're helping others regardless of race, religion, or country of origin. And I think that that's pretty awesome. And I want to go back to what Amy just said, right? Like she said, bettering the world. And I feel that we are all part of that bettering the world. That to me is extremely important. And I want to be part of the next ones. So just sharing my point of view, quick, easy, and honest. I was really happy of being part of this, and it changed my perception, not only on how to help others, but how am I part of a company that is actually doing something important. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
So good, Ivan. It'll be hard to top that. But hi, everyone. My name is Carissa. For those of you I haven't had the chance to meet on the creative team, and I had the chance to reflect on my experience. And really, I felt like it was a chance to look behind the curtain, if you will, of what the giving team does on a daily basis. And I have the opportunity to partner with them on certain marketing initiatives and planning, but really getting a sense of the heartbeat behind these partnerships, and getting to meet the people on the other side, the people on the ground who do focus on these areas that we talk about all the time in terms of our creative and our external communication. But hearing them put their passions and their interests and their work in their own worlds and in their own terms was just incredibly powerful. Not only for my role here at TOMS, but just to feel connected to the brand and our mission on a deeper level. It also gave me the chance to meet a couple new people on the TOMS team that I haven't had a chance to meet. I learned that Dan loves dinosaurs, and just meet a couple people, and so just to have that time with everyone. So highly recommend everyone signing up for the next one when you have the chance. And I cannot be more grateful for being able to join that a couple weeks ago. So I think Magnus is going to close this out.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Carissa. Thanks, Ivan. It's a good reminder for all of us what makes this brand different and special. This is unique. And here we are again with an evolving model that is as relevant, if not even more relevant than the previous one. So thanks for sharing that. Good reminder. So here we are saying that we were going to end early for the first time in the last 18 months, and we're about 13 minutes late. So as you can see on the screen there, if you have questions, send them to questions@toms.com. We didn't get anything in the chat, I believe, but we're more than happy to answer any questions on any topic that you might have. So thanks for paying attention. Thanks for all of your hard work. Don't forget that there is something called work-life balance. You're responsible for it. We support it, and have a great rest of your week and great summer. And I'm looking forward to seeing most of you come October here. So have a great day and thanks so much.